You remember when President Trump, during the campaign, posted that meme to Twitter? And it was a picture of him, and it said, "They're not coming after me. They're coming after you, and I just happen to be in the way." I thought it was one of the high points of the 2020 campaign. And Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO, just proved it true. Jack Dorsey obviously just deplatformed President Trump the other day. He was just caught on a hidden camera, I believe from Project Veritas, pointing out on a phone call, this is not about Trump. The censorship is going to be much, much broader.
We do intend to do a full retro, as I said in my note. It is going to take some time. And then the other thing, just to close out a little bit, we are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week, the next few weeks. It's going to go on beyond the inauguration. We have to expect that. We have to be ready for that. So the focus is certainly on this account and how it ties to real-world violence, but also we need to think much longer term around how these dynamics play out over time. I don't believe this is going away anytime soon. And the moves that we're making today around QAnon, for instance, is one such example of a much broader approach that we should be looking at and going deeper on. So the team has a lot of work and a lot of focus on this particular issue. We also need to give them the space and the support to focus on the much bigger picture.
Much bigger, much broader. You see, he's using the excuse of real-world violence to take Trump off of Twitter. Doesn't really justify it at all. Doesn't explain the real-world violence that Trump is inciting, right? Trump is tweeting out saying, be peaceful, be peaceful, be peaceful. But he's basically admitting that's just an excuse because this is going to be much broader. Then he says, okay, and then we're going to broaden out and talk about QAnon. But even that's not the extent of it. This is going to be much, much broader. It's going to go on for weeks and months. It's going to go on past the inauguration. Big tech, the ruling liberal regime of which big tech plays a role, has had it with conservatives, and they want to ostracize us from society. They say make your own Twitter if you're a conservative, and then you make your own Twitter and they kick you off of the internet. Parler tried this. Parler was Dan Bongino's platform. There was the Twitter alternative. Then they go and, they were getting a lot of new members when Twitter starts purging right-wingers. And then Amazon Web Services kicks Parler off. We were told that Parler was supposed to be back today. Parler is not back today. Parler, according to its CEO, may never return. Why? Is it because Parler just doesn't have a good business model? I don't think so. I think Parler can attract a lot of money. I mean, you've heard people, financial analysts talking about how well Parler is doing. Is it because Parler doesn't have a good user base? No. Parler, last I checked, had 2.3 million active users and 15 million total users. And that, by the way, was before this crazy week of kicking Trump off of Twitter and everybody going over to Parler. So I'm sure that number went up considerably, many multiples perhaps. Well, it's not because of that. It's because the left does not want the right to have any say. They want the right to be totally ostracized. It's not about Trump. That is a distraction. It's not about QAnon. That is a distraction. It's about you. It's about the 75 million Trump voters, people who mainstream leftists have said are Nazis, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, and therefore totally should not be permitted in society. It's interesting on a few levels how this works, because what they do, they've been doing this for a long time. They call you deplorable, irredeemable, bitter clingers, right? All these sort of ways to dismiss you and justify taking you out of society. But the top charge probably is that you're a Nazi, right? You've been hearing this ever since Gore Vidal was debating Bill Buckley many, many years ago. He said, you're a crypto-Nazi, and Bill Buckley threatened to punch him in his face. They call you Nazis because that is, in popular culture, considered the embodiment, the incarnation of pure evil, right? There can be nothing even close to that amount of evil. Why is communism not considered on that level? communism, a bloodier ideology, right? And certainly, I think, in the ballpark of wickedness and how pernicious these ideologies are, right? Why is it perfectly fine to be a communist? Why are you permitted to wear a Che Guevara t-shirt? Could you imagine if you wore a Nazi t-shirt? Oh my goodness gracious. But you can wear Che Guevara, you can wear Chairman Mao, you could probably wear a Stalin t-shirt on a college campus. Wouldn't get you into any sort of trouble. It's a strange double standard. Meanwhile, the 75 million Americans who voted for Trump are not Nazis. But it doesn't matter. Because if you just say 75 million people disagree with me, they're not liberals, they're not very progressive, then it's hard to justify kicking them not just off of social media, but out of banks, out of their jobs, out of their livelihoods, right? But if you say they're Nazis, then yeah, sure, we don't want to do business with Hitler, do we? I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Michael Knowles Show. To check out the full episode, hit the link in the description or download the Michael Knowles Show wherever you listen to podcasts.